Welcome, Niyatii, to Intensify Humanity podcast. And I'm really glad to meet you here because I've been following your works and I'm really, seeing a woman taking up such a kind of initiative and spreading awareness. And you're doing really a good job. You're
Thank you.
inspiration. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So, Niyatii, my first question to you would be, in our society, there is so much of advancement, people claim there is so much of advancement in technology, acceptance, and so many things, yet there are some things which are still considered as stigma. However, you went ahead and chose to talk about it, to spread awareness, and to teach people about sexuality. So, how did it all start, and what is the reason behind this kind of particular education?
So, Somdutta, what happened was when I was pregnant with my first child, now he's 16 years. So, that was the time when he was in my womb, and all I would envision our relationship was a very honest and an open relationship where I had promised my child that whatever questions you have, I will be your source of information. Not that time we had this technology 16 years back where Google was filled with so much information, but definitely it was just something that I felt within that, not that I want to hold on to my child, but he should have a resource who he trusts for a longer period of time. Somebody who he knows is always there for them. And parents are the only source of information, or people around them, like siblings or parents, who are going to be there for them throughout. Either their lives or their lives. Teachers change, neighbors will change, friends change, but your family stays with you. And sibling is definitely not a place of resource. So that leaves us parents, which is very powerful. And nobody loves a child more than a parent does. And a parent will go that extra mile to ensure that the child is safe and healthy both. So when I promised my child that, I had no idea about sex education per se as a topic. So it was just like, okay, you have a question, you come to me, I will ensure I'm giving you an answer. So when he was about 6 years of age, and his school conducted a workshop where a doctor came in and spoke about sex education, its importance, and specifically child sexual abuse. So me being a victim of child sexual abuse, understood that very personally. It was like as if he's talking to me of what I went through. Definitely, I'm not traumatized by it. It was just something that I recognized what happened to me, and again by a family member. So it kind of stuck on to me that how could I miss on such an important phase or an important piece of information or a topic where I am trying to be a mother who wants to be there for his, for him as a child. And that kind of, I said, okay, you know what, I need to find out. I need to know what sex education is all about. I need to be educated myself to be then talk to my child about it. And that's how my journey started. So I went ahead, I did a short course with this Dr. Rajan Bhosle, that is his name, and he's extremely famous for his counseling sessions. That's Dr. Meenu and Dr. Rajan Bhosle for his sex education. So I went and I did his small course and a short course. From there, the journey started where a lot of my myths were broken. A lot of understanding that I needed to have as a parent came in about the topics. Now, how do I take it to my child? Information so I got. Now, how do I break it down to his level, to his language, to his understanding was the challenge as a parent. So now I know masturbation is normal, but how am I going to break that news to my child? It's not something that I'm going to sit down with a textbook or something and talk about it, because I didn't want to make it a topic. It has to be a conversation with my child, just like I tell him haircut is important, or go take your shower, that kind. Because I realized that the more taboo and the more hesitation we are attaching to this topic, the children were sensing that more than what I was saying, or more than what a parent talks to the child. So you're getting what I'm saying? Your tone, the way you speak, how you make a conversation is what the child grasps. So that's where it all started, and I started digging into the topic, learning more about it, training myself into communication, body language, and all the other courses that I started doing. Because now I was not only talking to my child, a lot of my friends and family came together and said, why don't you talk to our children? and I started having smaller batch of children who I was talking about safety. That time it was basic about puberty, basics about puberty, and basics about child sexual abuse. But then I started talking to the adults about their lives, and they as parents and they as couples. And I realized this topic is something that everybody wants to know, but they were just hesitant because nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody was talking about it until asked. And we didn't have the platform to ask. Because if somebody asks that, hey, listen, I'm having a trouble, like I'm having trouble with my first few months in marriage, maybe the man is having some kind of anxiety performance problems, or the woman is having pains, they didn't know who to go and talk to about. So that's where I thought that this platform needs to be created where we can talk about it. It's not so bad as people are making it to be. It's a very normal thing, and most of us are going through it. So why should we keep quiet about it? So it's not only about children, it's as about adults also. And the more I dug into it, the more I realized, the more I was taking workshops, it just came out to me that this can be simplified and this can be made a little normal than what it is not. And that's how it all started.
Absolutely agree with you that it is so natural, so normal thing, yet it is made so complicated to just even talk about. And that's why there is so much of stigma associated around with it. So in a lot of schools, as we have seen when we also grew up, and I'm sure you will relate to it, that sex education was an alien term.
Yes.
So, do you think that education has especially the conventional education systems, the schools, colleges, has a big role to play to spread the awareness at the ground level? Because maximum of the time they spend their time of the day in schools and colleges.
So, you know what, Somdata? I understand that sex education is not a topic. Again, as I was saying, it's not a subject, it's a life skill to somewhere, to understand. So, when we tell our grown up daughters or sons that it's time for you to get married, you have to settle down, you have to earn that much amount of money to support your family, we are giving them the understanding and the preparation that they need to do to have that, right? So, this goes alongside. So when the child is young, whether it's a girl or a boy, to tell them that, oh, why are you talking to a girl, or why are you playing only with girls, or telling girls that boys are like that only, they're constantly thinking only about one topic. That's how society's conversations are. And children are picking it up, whether we agree, with it or not. Even if the child is not in the room, he or she understands, because the entire society, whether it's the hoarding boards or the advertisements or the cartoons that they are watching, or the parents behaving at home or anywhere outside, movies that they are watching, it's all throwing these topics in front of them. Sexual messages are everywhere for them. So whether you're doing it in front of them or not is not the question. So where does the school come into the picture? As you very rightly said, that a lot of hours go into it. So school need not have a particular topic of sex education, but it can become a topic with EVS, or it could become a topic where a PE teacher is ensuring that there are games between girls and boys, just to get them to understand that both genders are equally strong. Because there are boys who can't play certain sports, there will be certain girls who can't play certain sports. So sport has nothing to do with gender. Sport has to do with your stamina, with your strength. So that is what needs to go to the child. So sex education per se is also somewhere understood as only about the sexual activity, which is not true. Sex education, or sexuality education in today's terms, as we call it, is a lot more than just that 3-minute act, or just the hugging and kissing and having a relationship with somebody. It's about knowing your body. It's about knowing your likes and dislikes, when you have a relationship, or how you want to be touched, even as a child. So some children don't like people spanking them on their butt, like how, we adults have this fixation over small babies' butts, like they're so cute, and parents go like so cute and they want to pinch it and spank it. But that's exactly what we need to teach the child, that you have the right to say no. So it's a very long a process and long a topic to be taught from when the child is born all the way till he has the understanding of how to handle his relationship, and even after that, for that matter. So schools definitely play a huge role when it comes to subtle things like this, creating the gender equality, letting them know that, see, in today's times, There are first graders who talk about having girlfriends, having crushes, having boyfriends, getting married, though it's very innocent. But they are picking up these through movies, that when you like somebody, you kiss them, they are called your girlfriends and boyfriends, and they're grasping all this very quickly. So what can the school do? School can definitely, when something like this happens in a classroom, the teacher or the counselor can definitely take one period and talk about it, that it's okay to like other friends, but they are friends, they are not called girlfriends. That happens only after you are certain age. You can call it 16 just for their understanding. So they understand the distinction between having a friend and having a girlfriend. So that is where the school can come in. But a topic per se, yes, they can take it, but they're already struggling with the amount of topics they have, the subjects they have themselves. And this topic also, I believe, is a topic which the entire society needs to take up. So even if school is saying something and a parent is saying something, but if the society is going to say something else, if their role models are going to say something else, children are not listening to you. So we tell them that lying is bad, stealing is bad, all these moral values we are giving our children. But does it stop? It doesn't. It's a survival thing.
You have beautifully put out in words that it is a life skill. It is not a particular topic to be taken up. And we, who is society? It's us people who build the society. And not just in schools and college, but also it starts from home or wherever the child goes or spends time during entire duration. And since you have mentioned it is a life skill, so would you also shed some light on the fact that when this particular child with half knowledge or basically no knowledge about this kind of sex education grows up, goes into a relationship or get married, and that person, whether it's a lady or a man, have complete misconceptions about these things, it affects the relationship at large, and then again they are not able to speak and they suffer in their own anxiety, depression, stress. So how can they actually come out of that phase?
So that is exactly where I began when I was teaching. We learned everything about the adult sexuality. I had to break it down to understand what are our concerns today, so that I can help the new generation to understand, so that they don't have the same concerns. As I was mentioning, the relationships are at a much younger age. So when we had relationships at 16, 18, and then later, now the relationships are at 11 and 12 and 13. So when a 12-year-old who's not emotionally mature to handle such situations, or the feelings that the overwhelming feelings that love brings in or attraction brings in, emotional maturity is not there, it's not developed, and the sexual development has happened. So this bridge we need to create for them. And as your question asks, how do we do it? We start talking young to them. We start letting them know that, listen, there are certain things you will face as you are growing up. So when supposedly now your child is about 8 years, 9 years old, you start adding a little information to them, help them understand what you are going through as a parent. If you're a mother, speak to your child about how you get mood swings when you have just before your periods, or what are periods, and what happens to you. What are the sanitary pads you're using, or tampons you're using, or the cups you're using, and child will have questions to ask you. So I remember when my little one is 8 years today, but when I started using menstrual cups a year and a half back, and she immediately asks me, how do you put it in? Isn't it too small? Because she recognizes her vulva, right? She compares it to, because she's not seen anybody else's or an adult's. So she's wondering as to, how is mama going to put this in, and what is she doing to herself? Isn't she going to hurt herself? So this was the time when I got an opportunity to tell her, see, this is how I fold it, and it goes in. See, your hand is smaller than mine. So my vulva is a little bigger than yours, and it is elastic and it stretches. So it's easy to put in. So I'm going fast right now, but at her level, I would talk to her and explain it to her as to how it's done. So you start taking relationships from there. So you realize that, okay, when a couple gets into a relationship, there are expectations. So where do these expectations lead you? So when a child is about 14, 15 years of age, you start talking about relationships. You start saying that, okay, you are going to face something called attraction. It's going to happen to you. You may be attracted either to a girl or a boy or both or somebody else. And you know what? It's okay. It's normal. So whenever you are in question, come and ask me. Talk to me about how you feel. I will help you out. But for that, as an adult, I need to know that there is something called heterosexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality, transsexuality. There's a lot you need to understand first about, ourselves and about the topic to then help your child. So start talking small to them, give them little questions and let them think over it. And even after all of that, your child might decide not to talk to you. So when you pick up signs like, okay, you know what, he's spending a lot of time speaking to certain, like I'm talking about my son who's 16. So if he's spending a lot of time, hypothetically, speaking to somebody, I will pick that up and ask him, is everything okay? Or is there something beyond? Do you need help? Do you want to know anything? And he might just come up and ask you certain questions. You also prepare them for heartbreaks, because that is going to happen, day one or day two or day 15 or day, it's going to happen. If not with this, then with somewhere else. So teach them how to deal with that. And as age goes by, that this is the age where you talk about pornography, masturbation, attraction. You would want to feel like doing certain things. How can you control yourself, or what else can you do so that you don't make mistakes? Because they are mature human beings sexually, so it is possible that the girl can get pregnant if they have sex. So what are condoms? What are other ways of ensuring that you don't, I won't call it a mistake, but this is not the age to go and have a child. So how can you delay to the point where you're mature enough to handle something like that? So the words you choose, the tone you speak, everything matters. And then slowly, when they're about 18, 19, when they're adults and they think, now I know how to handle all these things, you start talking about what are long-term relationships, what to look for in a life partner, what are the things that you can face. If you've already had sex at 18, 19, then what are the problems you are going through? So it completely is based upon age and the maturity of the child and the comfort of the child, when they are talking to you. So how to take it? Take it age-wise, take it according to their comfort, know what they are going to face next and talk beforehand. And don't talk it as a topic. I always tell all my students, parents, everyone, take it as an opportunity, as a conversation, and then talk about it. So how to pull them out of it is only by education.
That's a beautiful way of explaining it so simply that you have just shared. And the part that you've mentioned, that before I explain it to him or her, I need to first know about all these things, and I need to be clear that I'm not having any kind of misconceptions or any kind of assumptions about these things, and I am not ashamed of talking about it. So, more than the kids, because kids are smart enough, they are bold enough. So what message would you like to give the parents out there who really need to educate themselves and come out of this kind of stigma mentality?
So my first request would be, this is a parent talking to a parent, right? So what I have realized is, the first thing is ensure that you are comfortable talking about this topic. And if you can't find yourself talking about it, there is one simple exercise that you can do. Say the words vulva, vagina, penis, testicles, breasts. Just say these words out loud. When you hear the words yourself, that hesitation is broken. The first thing what I find in most of the parents is, you can't even speak these words. Then how can you have a conversation around it? So speak it out loud. If you don't want to speak it out with anybody else to practice, do it yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say these words. Trust me, it helps. It sounds very funny. It sounds like, what is she talking about? But it works. And then start talking about your sexual life with your partner. If you're a father, if you're a man, talk to your spouse about, your wife about it. If you're a wife, talk to your husband about it. Talk about yourself. Talk about what you like, what you don't like. If you have questions about him or her, ask, because that is where you will find comfort, that it's okay to talk about this topic within our closed doors. See, nobody is asking anybody to stand up on the stage and make indecent jokes about it. Nobody is saying that, okay, you need to go out there and talk about sex as if it is like, I am the person who knows everything about it. No, we are only talking about education. And education has space only where there is somebody to teach and somebody to learn. You don't have to be somebody who like, oh, I can talk about sex anywhere and everywhere. No, it's only education. So it's between the doors, it's within the walls, so you and your partner, you and your child, start there. And yes, if you want to join my clan and become an educator to take this message outside, let's start with smaller rooms, smaller groups, where you will understand that you still can be fully clothed. You don't have to have that image. It's purely a relationship between a teacher and a student. So whether you are a parent or a child or spouses. So one, be comfortable with the topic. Two, read about the topics yourself first. Go through not one book, two books, go through few books, that will give you the information. Go through Google. Google is not bad till you know what resources you're picking up. The problem with Google is we don't know what is the right resource to pick it up from. So when you know it's a big company who's done a lot of work, these are experts who are writing about it, they've done work in this field, they know what they're talking about, hear them, read their articles, understand the topic. Once you know for sure that, okay, you know what, I am now confident that I know what I'm going to talk about to my child, then go spreading that education. Not half education. हमें भी तो बच्चे हुए हैं, हमको मालूम है बच्चे कैसे होते हैं. But a lot of times we don't know ourselves. I have had clients who told me, Niyati, till I was not on the delivery table, I thought my child is going to come out of my butt. So I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. I have had mothers who do who it's not yeah, as funny as it sounds, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we don't know that we have a different place where the period blood comes out, a different place where the urine comes out, and a different place where the stools comes out. A lot of many women think we have only two places and not three. So this is basic biology that you need to know about yourself. What is wet dreams? If your son is going to have a wet dream tomorrow, how will you handle it? We don't know what wet dreams are. Fathers don't talk about it to their sons. Why wouldn't you? You've gone through it. You know how it feels when there's nobody to help you. See, mothers are still now open because periods have become like a big topic nowadays, so mothers are okay to talk about it to their daughters, but fathers also need to open up and talk about themselves. So second, as I was saying, the education is very important. And the third main important thing is, talk only as much as your child is comfortable. Just because we are ready to talk to them, we cannot expect them to sit down and hear us out completely. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. This also you need to. It cannot be a topic like that. Calm yourself, sit down and have a conversation. So your body language, your tone, and your choice of words. And as much as you can simplify for your child to understand, it's okay to even talk about what sexual intercourse is to a 6-year-old, because they are not seeing it as a taboo. They are not seeing it as like, oh my God, you're so dirty. The younger the child, and it's easier to explain it to them, because it's just like, okay, there is a respiratory system, there is a reproductive system, and there's a digestive system. It's biology for them. It becomes, oh my God, because they've not heard about it. They've heard taboo stuff about it, and then you're telling them. So that is why children get a bigger shock. So the younger you start, as a matter of fact, the easier it is for them to understand this when they're growing up. So main three things: be comfortable yourself, educate yourself, and look at the comfort of your child. Simplify it for them. That's my suggestion.
Again, very simply and beautifully put out in words. And I'm sure our listeners might have got some kind of idea that they can really implement and, start talking about it. And as you mentioned that, yes, many women don't even know what their biology is. And here comes a picture when they don't even know how to go through that traumatic phase of when the first blood comes out. They think that they are going to die. So how, like, have you come across any challenges when you first started off the journey while explaining it to their parents or children as such? What are the challenges that you have faced?
So my biggest challenge is that the children are ready and curious. They want to talk about it. They want to know about it. But the channels that I have to go through, which is parents and schools, is restricting us to reach out to them. So that is where, that was my biggest challenge, to convince the schools and parents to come out and hear me out and understand that this is very simple knowledge, very basic understanding that we are giving our children. So my biggest challenge has always been cutting through the taboo to reach the adults so that I could reach the children. Um, Other than that, nothing bigger than, so challenges are there, no doubt about it. I'm talking on a topic which is, seen very, how can a woman talk about sex openly? Is she available? All that is another level of challenges that I went through, being a woman, talking about sex. But touch wood, I will not call it as big a challenge where I had to really fight the society, because somewhere I was prepared as to what I am getting into. So I knew that I will have a lot of public um, trolling me or shaming me or telling me, what are you doing? But seriously, it's not as bad as I thought. It is so good. So touch wood, whether the way I'm coming out and the I'm very clear as to how much I want to go further into it and where I draw my lines. So it's been a smooth journey that way. But yes, my biggest challenge has always been going through the adults to reach to the children. So the two books also that I came out for puberty. So I have authored two books. One is called When Girls Grow Up, and which is for the girls, which also has a section about boys, because they are curious to know the other gender. And the other book is called When Boys Grow Up, which has basic all the information for boys, and then a little section on the girls. And both books have Q&A, which were live questions that I received from my workshops. So even when this book came out, I had questions like, do you talk about sex? Then we don't want to give it to our children. I said, no, this is level 1, where they just need to understand about their body, about the changes. How can you talk about grammar without teaching them alphabets? It's as simple as that. So you start with the alphabets, take them through the words, take them through sentence formation, then to do the entire, there's a system to it. So yeah, the biggest challenge is I request the adults to be okay to talk about it, because you know it yourself how many challenges you have had when it comes to sex and sexuality. So why should your children go through it? So yeah.
Do you also think social media can play a big role in helping out spread this kind of message?
I think for me, particularly personally, social media has been the platform to reach out to parents, to the youth, to the teachers, to everybody for that matter. Social media has played a big role in my life. And I cannot thank Facebook enough for that matter, or Instagram. So these three platforms I'm very active on: LinkedIn, Facebook, and Insta. So yes, social media has played a big role in reaching out to whatever public I have reached out to.
So the two books, When Girls Grow Up and When Boys Grow Up. So that is available in Amazon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And people can go and read it out. So it's a great thing that you have written the book. I mean, to share not just the knowledge, but also what they should be doing with the question answers and everything. So thank you for writing such books which will help the society at large. And also, since you are yourself an author, let me ask you the next question. Who is your favorite author?
So, okay, I am not the reader kind of a reader. So I read a lot, but my majority of the reading is on my topic, and a few books on self-help. So, of course, Louis Hay is one of my favorite, and Dr. Mahendra Vatsa. I have not only read the book that he has come out with, but I have read a lot of his article and his work and his course. So for me, particularly, my favorite author is one side, which is Louis Hay, and the other is Dr. Mahendra Vatsa. And I cannot thank him for all the articles and all the, topics he's come out with.
Okay,
Two my favorite.
great, awesome. So from here, where do you want to take this initiative to the next level? What is your next set of mission or purpose?
So because I realized it was such a tough job to get everybody outside to come for a workshop and longer hours and everything, I had some thoughts couple of years back that I wanted to take this entire course and put it online, so that a parent and a child can sit in their own comfort of their homes, go topic by topic at their own pace, and whenever they need to, it's okay to jump topics or to know about something because the conversation has come up. So the content is ready with them, the explanation is ready with them, available to them. So I am going online with my course. There are two main audience I am looking for. One is the educators, because I want more and more educators to come out and to be able to teach this topic, whether it is the adults or the children. And second is the parents, so that they can sit down and be the trusted source of information, where they are educated not only with the content but also with the skills. So my forward way is the online course that I want to come out with. And I've had amazing people in my life to push me and believe in me and tell me that, Niyati, that's the way to go. Just go do it and don't worry about anything else. You're doing a fab job. So having that kind of people behind me, I'm definitely sailing through this.
This is awesome. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, and all the best for that.
Thank you.
And so, if not a sexuality educator, a teacher, or an, a speaker, what would Niyatii Shah be?
Yeah, so this is the question I ask a lot of my friends also. But what I personally think is I can be a fabulous um, marketer and a manager. So I see myself as a problem solver. So if it could be any topic or a person who I could work for or work with, my superpower is to demystify, to simplify, and to bring solutions to problems. So even if it is a simple thing or a big problem, I focus on why it happened later. First, I'm like, okay, this is what is in front of me. How do I get through it? So my brain starts working very quickly towards getting out of it, or bringing a solution to it, then going back and thinking, okay, what went wrong, let's look at it so that we don't repeat it again. So a manager would be a perfect job for me, and a marketer, because I think reaching out to people and helping them understand a product or a service is what I could do best. So, yeah.
That's an interesting answer. I like the word demystifier. Nice. Thank you for sharing that. And how can our listeners connect with you?
So I'm available everywhere on these three social media platforms, and my handle is simple. It's Niyatii N Shah. Niyati goes with the spelling of Niyati and then Shah. So look for this, and you'll find me everywhere.
All right. Thank you so much, Niyati. I'm sure our listeners would have been bombarded with some really good and productive and useful insights and knowledge today. And people have been, wanting to speak, but some are afraid to speak about it. Some people don't know about it, but I'm sure they have got lots of insight about it. And I'm sure there are lots to learn from you regarding, be it a kid, a parent, or non parent, whoever it is. And you are doing an amazing job, and I wish you all the best. And I just wish you spread this awareness to more and more and more people out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Somdutta, for reaching out to me, giving me this platform, because as I said, it's very important for me to reach out so that people can hear me, know what my mission is, understand who I am. So it's easy for them to connect back with me. So thank you for giving me this platform.